sunshine, what have you done to me? Whoa, the enemy sunshine, what have you done to me? Make me live my life in wonder and misery.
Welcome everybody to Veterans Advised. This is your host, Diamond Bob Perro, and we're in the Morgan studio that we used to put this podcast on. And I'm here with the producer, Joe Morgan, and we have a very special guest today, Melissa Washington. Melissa, you want to tell us a little bit about what you do and what your organization's all about?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Joe. I appreciate it. Melissa Washington. I'm a Navy veteran. Live here in Lincoln. I've been married to a Marine for 28 years. And a little over 7 years ago, I got about 20 women veterans together at a local restaurant in Sacramento, and that's where now a nationwide organization, Women Veterans Alliance, was born.
Nice. So what does your organization represent, or what do you do during the year?
Yeah, so, well, as we know, women veterans, we are an unrecognized and underserved population, and we are continually looking to make a dent in that and change that so people do know and are aware that we've been serving since the Revolutionary War. And also, too, as far as being underserved, making sure that we're getting women connected to their benefits. Also, too, letting women know, and men, sometimes if you did serve, you are a veteran. And that's still a challenge that we have to face. But a lot of it's just primarily what we do is we get women veterans connected with each other and their benefits. And we do that through our networking and our events, both online and in person, and providing women camaraderie. I mean, that's, we had in the military, and a lot of times people miss that camaraderie piece being out here in the civilian world. So why not get a bunch of women together and provide that camaraderie?
Absolutely. And we support you on that.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, we had a podcast, the last one, about in March. It was Female Veterans Month. So we put a podcast on for that. And we had a Navy veteran come in.
Go Navy.
Yeah. And the guest that we had on air talked about some of the things that she was, when she went in, and being a female, she was kind of denied things because they didn't see her like, I don't know what they don't see, but they don't see her being eligible to get some of these benefits. And that is a horrible thing. And I think we need to go to the VA and say, somebody needs to school these doctors they have in there, to recognize women veterans served this country as well as we did.
Absolutely. Whether it comes with, women veterans having access to health care, women, and also women veterans and our disability benefits. So when you look at health care, we're fortunate enough here in Greater Sacramento area that we have 2 great women's health clinics here that over McClellan and Mather. There are some other areas that don't even have a women's clinic, but I'm thankful for what we have here as far as our women, and our women need to use it. So that's one of the things too, is you look at, there's a very low percentage of women that utilize the VA for health care. So how can we get more women to use the VA for health care? And that could be a whole other topic just to talk about women in health care. But also too, it's important that women do use the VA for health care, because then the VA can, look at things that have happened, look at things we've been exposed to. When we talk about exposure, we look at burn pit exposure. There was just Dr. Kate Thomas, she's a former Marine. She just had cancer, and a lot of it's and passed away because of the burn pit exposure. I mean, that affects our men and our women. But also when we look at exposure, women veterans, we are more at risk of breast cancer than our civilian counterparts, because everything that we've been exposed to, things we've been exposed to that we may know of we've been exposed to, and there have been things we've exposed to we don't even know about that affects our health. So that's why it's important for our women to get registered for VA, their health care, but also to our disability benefits, and letting them know how important it is to get those disability benefits. Of course, it's great to have, tax-free money every month, but also to all the other benefits that encompasses as well. And, when I speak to civilians, so many civilians, they assume that we just automatically get benefits and we're taking care of the rest of our life. It don't work that way. And that's the thing, is we have to, file, and we have to fight for our benefits. I know there is some legislation out there that's looking to potentially where they can just automatically, as our service members get out, is enroll them into the VA. So, of course, when we talk about the government, that could be years from now. They could pass it today, but it may take so many years to implement that. For our veterans. So it's important that we take care of our men and our women that have served.
Well, I think one of the things that I heard when I left McClellan, I was talking to a guy there that worked at McClellan, and I said, I'm starting this podcast. He says, one thing you got to mention is your DD 214 is your VA birth certificate. You have to have a copy of that. You have to get that and keep it and make copies of it, because the VA wants to see that DD 214.
Absolutely. It's so important for us to have it, to know for our loved ones to know where it's at, because, especially now, my dad's a Vietnam vet. I mean, I need to know where his documents are, because, it's so important too, is, my generation, a lot of our parents, served, and we need to know that too, where our parents' documents are, because, where do we go? And that's why it's so important we have our county veteran service offices, as we look at, okay, if my parent passes, how can I help my mom? What does she get benefits? What does that death certificate look like, and the importance of that? I mean, there's so many things that we have to know, and that's why it's important to know people who know their stuff, because there is so much false information out there. It's very frustrating, especially when you're dealing with a person that is dealing with someone that may have just passed. And what that looks like.
Yeah, I've helped 3 widows get their benefits through my knowledge and going through the VSO over in Rockland. So you're right. There's a lot of things you have to know, and I think they get about $1,700 a month or something like that.
A lot of it just, it depends upon the situation, but a lot of times they don't even know that they get it, or they're trying to fight to get it.
Right, and you know what they get? They get the benefits, the health benefits. They get the deduction on the taxes, and they get to buy a house with no money down, just like she was a vet. Now, that's part of the deal. So this is a big thing that's not out there that women don't know, especially female veterans. We need to help get the message to them.
Well, definitely. I mean, just the whole part of identifying as a veteran, and you bring up one of the things where I got a call several years ago from a realtor and said, can you talk to this woman to let her know she's a veteran? She's like, I'm not a veteran. She truly believes she served, but she wasn't a veteran. So talk about life-changing, that now she has her certificate of eligibility. She's a homeowner now. She doesn't have to pay any money down, so it's just these small things that could be life-changing for our men and our women.
Yeah, and in certain states, which I know, if you are 100% disabled, you don't have to pay any taxes. Zero taxes.
Property taxes, yes. So like in Texas, it's a tiered system, and that's something actually here in California we've been trying to look at, because right now if you're 100%, it's a certain percentage, only 100%, and there's some other disabilities that you can get the percentage off your property taxes, but it's not wiped out.
Right.
So I know there has been legislation that has been proposed, even proposing as a tier level. So if you're 100%, you get this much, 90%, 80%. And California, I mean, my opinion, is not the most friendly veteran state, considering all of the military retirees we have. My husband's a retiree. He's taxed on his military retirement. You go to other states, it's not taxed. There's some of the tax benefits for being a business owner in other states. So there's still a lot California has to work on when it comes to our service members and our veterans.
Yeah, I know New Jersey, where I'm from. I left when I was 18, but it's zero. You pay no tax, no property tax. And it could be an extra $500-$600 a month.
Absolutely. And, it's already expensive enough to live here, let alone, if you retire, you still have to work again and for a second retirement just to survive. And, for some of our, for all of our men and women who made that sacrifice, there shouldn't be so much of a hassle and so much of a burden that's put on our military members.
So when your group meets, where do they meet at?
Well, we usually rotate different locations, restaurants. It depends, of course, with COVID. Things changed that up a little bit. So it's just gathering for different events. We have we've got an event coming up next Thursday, which is it's an online comedy event. But also too in May we have we're partnering with Cabby, who's a clothing line, and they are donating clothing and stylists to women veterans here in Sacramento. And we still have signups available, and women could come and meet, have some light refreshments, and they can leave with some brand new clothing.
I wish I had known that. My daughter just moved out of the house, and she had about 5 black travelers with purses and then boots, and she spends money. It's too bad I didn't know that.
Well, so ours is brand new clothing, but actually on June 11th down in Walnut Creek, Calvet is putting on a dress code event for women veterans. So they're looking for donations for clothing.
Okay. Next time she moves out.
There you go.
But so I see this. You gave me this magazine.
Yes.
Here, and I guess you guys had this made up and printed.
Mm-hmm.
And it speaks to what you're all about, Women's Veterans of California, and it looks pretty interesting. I haven't had a chance to go through it yet, but I will. And now I'm the service officer at the VFW in Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be the commander, and now I help veterans to get their benefits. So maybe at some point in time, when we do some events, you can maybe come by and bring some of those magazines and sit down and talk about women veterans and that. But I'll have to talk to DR first.
I know DR very well.
Yeah.
I'm on the board for the Lincoln Veterans Memorial.
The coalition.
The coalition, yes, I am, and I have my plaque there along with my dad and my husband. Right, we're all right next to each other.
I got my plaque, and I got Canine Rowdy.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, so we don't want the women get treated 10 times worse than the male veterans, but the canines get treated worse than that. So I put a plaque up there. I got a big story, but I can tell you some other time. Is there some way on the internet, if somebody hears this podcast and they want to reach out and get a hold of you and talk to you, do you have an internet?
Absolutely. We have a website. You can just Google Women Veterans Alliance. I 100% guarantee you we're going to pop up on when you Google us. Okay. We're on all social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. And we also have a YouTube channel as well. So for those that might be watching your channel on YouTube, they can come over to ours and subscribe. And we do a Wednesday webinar series every Wednesday, and it's uploaded to our YouTube channel. So a lot of great resources out there. And they can contact us on our website, and I'll get the email. And if they want to connect, talk, or they're looking for help with their benefits, or if they're a woman business owner, we help, or if they're also looking to go back to work, we can help them with resumes, help them with their LinkedIn profile, help them with business coaching. We provide a lot of things. Also, we have an online store for women veterans. It's we sell jewelry, shirts, hats, scarves. We have books from women veteran authors all on our website. Wow,
that's interesting. Yeah, it's too bad we didn't even know about this organization you have, because I think it's wonderful. No, I have a lot of women veterans live at Lakeside in Lincoln,
mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of women veterans over there, and like I say, I know women veterans that probably could use the help.
Yeah, use the help, or just, and I'll speak with women. They say, I don't need anything, but they might be able to give, not just give their time, and just there's so much experience. Once you get a bunch of just even veterans in general together, but even more special when you get a bunch of women veterans together.
Yeah, because one thing I heard you say is that you gather at places and maybe have breakfast. Now, we talked about that to get more exposure for the VFW because our ranks have dwindled.
Yes.
And it's, but we went from 6 to 9 the last meeting we had, so maybe we're on the way back. I think we need to do that too, And like I say, when I'll talk to DR, when we have an event, well, we have a new pop-up tent, the VFW on that. Maybe you can come over and bring in these magazines, because I have postcards with this podcast on it.
Oh, okay.
Where people can, take one of those, and because I have women veterans on the. I don't know if you ever saw it.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, if you look at it, you'll see, because we honor that service. We know it's not easy. You know what I mean? And so.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm a VFW lifetime member, so I'm a member. Just
the VFW?
VFW, yes. American Legion, yeah.
You're a member of our VFW?
No, I'm just whatever.
Life member?
Life member, but not tied to I'm tied to the Legion post here, but not the VFW post.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, well. Is there anything else that you have or you want to tell this audience here that will help a female veteran with their journey through the VA and healthcare?
Well, one, that we're here, so if you need someone to talk to, or you need it escalated, come talk to us. But you got to start, right? Whether you go to, and I know the VA is trying to do better with combining all the websites. Like, okay, where do I go? I go to e-benefits, or I go to DEER. I mean, there's so many, they're doing better at consolidating that piece. And it's just, okay, where do I start? One of the things is getting your medical records. That's key. Some people didn't get them when they got out, so you got to now request them. It could take a few months. Granted, they go to the National Archives and get their records. So having your medical records or personnel records, that's one thing you want to have. But also, too, even if you don't have them yet, you can always just start your claim with intent to file date. You can go today or just go online and put the date in. You don't have to have everything.
And what's the most important document?
Your DD-214.
Because it is your...
That's right.
your VA birth certificate.
That's right. But if you're already on there, so if you should be able to go to the VA, hopefully you can get your account if you don't have a VA account and get on there and all your information there. But getting that in, and then sitting down with once you have that, sitting down with a veteran service officer who knows their stuff.
Yeah.
There are some good ones, great ones, and there's some bad ones.
You're right.
Out there. So maybe it's not the right person. Maybe some, women may be uncomfortable speaking to a guy. We'll find a woman, and I can help you connect to a woman.
Sierra Whitfield.
There you go. Here, or if you go to Sacramento, Rochelle Arnold's a retired Air Force, runs the Sacramento County Veteran Service Office. And also finding an accredited person, too, when you file your claim, and making sure they go page by page. And I know veteran service officers, they'll just brush through. They won't look. When I had my claim filed, she went page by page, and she pulled stuff out of there that I'm like, I wouldn't even thought of that, because they know their stuff. They're credentialed. They know what they're doing, and making sure the word credentialed, because they have to be. It should be credentialed, and never share your username and password with someone else to do your claim information as well.
Now, we have our second podcast was with Sierra Whitfield. She talks about accreditation for VSOs.
Absolutely.
And if they're not trained well, and if they don't put their nose to the grindstone when they're looking at individual compensation and pension request, then it goes out the window.
Absolutely.
They have to pay attention to what's going
Most definitely. And they're, CalVet credit, they go through training with CalVet here in the state to be, the credentialed piece. And it's just so important. And you want someone that cares too, that really cares and understands and really wants to not just give you 15 minutes where if they're going to give you 15 minutes, they're going to give you 15 minutes of quality time.
Right.
There. And again, there's things you might not even know about or think about, like, oh, I didn't even know about that. And it's important. I talk to veterans all the time, men and women. Oh, I'm okay. But you never know what might happen from something that happened 10, 15, 20, 30s ago, and now something has manifested itself.
50 years ago. How you like that one?
Right? And it's so important, and a lot of our Vietnam vet guys too. Some of those are the hardest headed guys to tell them to get their benefits. Man, it's so important. And speaking of Vietnam vets, there's one guy local here in Sacramento. Every time I would see him for 2 years, I'd say, "Did you file your benefits?" He's a Navy vet, of course now with the blue water and that. And I said, "Did you get your benefits?" "No, I don't need it. I take care of my brother." No, he finally got it. Let me tell you, he sent me the text one day because he did his intent to file and he got back pay. And he said, "This is life-changing." He said, "Now my wife can retire."
Mm-hmm.
So that just changed his whole life. Here he is 70-something years old and his wife has been working, and now she didn't have to work because now he has this benefit that took him 50 years to finally get, So
you're talking to the choir.
So that's so important.
So it my journey was from 70 to 2005.
Wow. Yeah.
But my best friend who passed away young, and he was an Army vet, and he said, "Don't you ever give up. I don't care what you do. Don't you ever give up." And I never did. So I thank him.
No, it's rough. I saw my dad go through that. He's a combat vet and, had all and it took him a long time. This is back in the 80s and 90s when, they just don't give you 100% and all these things that he had. He fought and that's, finally got 100%, but he shouldn't have had to fought that much for all those things that happened to him. And
I have an easy solution. I thought about this and thought about this. You're in the service, and let's say you're a combat vet, and there's all these things that they know that you're exposed to. Okay, they can take a map like I do. I get a map, and you can see what it is. Then they put down Agent Orange, exposure, tested, neuropathy, and that. Yes, okay, you get 60%. You don't have to. Why do you keep going back and back? Just go, if you got this and the doctor says you have it, just keep checking the box.
Joe, that's too easy. We're talking about the government.
Bob. It's Bob.
I'm sorry, Bob. I don't want to call you Joe. Look at you. I'm calling you. Bob, that's way too... Why? The government makes it too difficult. I mean, if you look at their rating, the way they rate your disabilities, it's stuff back from like World War I.
Yeah.
So they have to go, and I mean, that's the act of Congress just to even get that updated. So
mustard gas.
It's just, and just the disabilities and the ligaments and everything that they do. It's just,
To me, it's simple. But I'm not a doctor. And I think it can be made easy if you're tested for it and you have it. Check the box, doc. Go down, check the box, doc. And then whatever they come up with, not take 50% of this or 2% of this and that. You added this when it drives veterans crazy. I know it does.
Well, it does.
Because they talk to me and say, what is this?
It's archaic system that they really have to look at updating.
Yeah. Maybe we can do something about that.
Again, it would take literally active Congress to change that. There's so many other things, look at the fight for the burn pit exposure, that's...
Yeah, my good buddy, his wife was in here, Lynn McGrath, he died of that.
Yeah. And we don't know what
serious.
else. There could be other things that happen. You know, can be other things that we don't even know. You know, everybody spent time in Iraq and Afghanistan. What can happen from that? What happened to the children? I mean, there's just so much. We can do so much better for our veterans. So much better. And I'm in the thick of it every day. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my life now.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
I got one thing, Bob. Let me unmute myself. So I have an odd question. Specific to women, I know one of the big issues is MST. Mm-hmm. And do you know anywhere that would be a good starting point for somebody who feels like they don't want to talk about it or they have had a problem with it? I know it was like 10 or 11% of people who served in Iraq and Afghanistan were women. Bear with me if I get the number wrong. I'm curious if you have, a lot of people don't like talking about that kind of stuff. Yeah. Where would you send them? What would you tell them to do? How would they begin?
I would recommend they contact me, my organization first, because we don't, when we say MST and talking about military sexual trauma, what is that? You know, it could be something, is this recent? Is this something they suppressed that, and I have women, things that happened to them over 20 years ago that they literally, it's been suppressed and it's just coming out. So it's like, where did they go? Or have they spoken now with their civilian therapist and things have come out? Okay, then maybe they need to go here. Is it from combat? Do they need to go to the vet center? We have 2 vet centers here in Sacramento. So a lot of it is, what are they looking to do? Are they looking to get the healthcare piece? Or are they looking for a disability claim? Because healthcare and disability claims are 2 different sections. It's 2 different areas. What are they looking to do for the MST? Are they looking for therapy help? Are they looking for financial help? What are they looking to do? And so many people, the common response is go to the VA. Well, that doesn't work. There has to be, because people and men, just with whether it's MST or something else, a lot of times they get discouraged because you send them over to McClellan, they're not there to help with that stuff, So it's like, come talk to us. And even if men, there's men MST, it's not just, women, there is a small percentage of men too, but, talk to start, you got to start it. And if you don't want to, it's okay.
I know it was kind of a leading question, but the reason I asked was exactly what you said, is sending them straight to the VA usually doesn't work. Contacting your organization, contacting another organization. That's kind of what I was leading towards, is to talk to somebody that has as a buffer between you and the VA to tell you what area to go to. And that's, like I said, that's kind of what I brought it up.
So tell us your organization name again, in case somebody coming in late on the podcast.
Absolutely. Yes, Joe. It's Women Veterans Alliance. You can Google us, Women Veterans Alliance. You'll find us online. We've got our magazine out there too. Yes. So find us, contact us through our website. That we have a chat box that pops up. Even if also too, I get calls from parents, spouses, anybody that has it. Someone that might be related to a woman veteran that just may not even know how to help her, or then they just want a better understanding of how they can best help her. So, but with that, I do want to leave with just a quick plug for an event we have coming up in June. It's our Boots and Ball Gowns Gala. And we give a Beyond the Call of Duty award to active duty and a veteran woman. And last year was a very special one. We just had it in December of last year. Hopefully everyone here remembers Sergeant Nicole G., who was one of the 13 service members who was killed at the Kabul airport. She's from our area. And when I went to the memorial, it was probably less than a week, and then she passed in Roseville, and her sister was up there and her dad, and they were sharing about this awesome young Marine, this woman. And, and I'm thinking as I'm crying, she epitomizes everything of what we have beyond the call of duty. And I said, we need to name this award after her. So I was able to reach out to her sister, who lives here in Lincoln. And I said, can we get your permission? I would like to honor your sister and give you all this award to her. But every year I want this award to be in her honor. And they said, absolutely. They said, she would love this. We just felt her presence there that night, and we awarded her, her sister came, her brother-in-law and her aunt came to our and we gave her the award. So now it's the Sergeant Nicole G. Beyond the Call of Duty Award that we will give out every year.
Nice.
And her family said they will come every year, and we will say her name every year so we can continue to remember this young Marine who made the ultimate sacrifice. Because I feel that, you know, when our military members die, I mean, if you remember this, they had the procession from the airport to the cemetery, and everybody's out there with flags and everything. But guess what? Next day, it's people forget. And I want to make sure she's never forgotten. And all those.
That's why they say old soldiers never die. We just fade away.
Yeah. So
and that's what happens.
So she will not, and she will not.
Okay, Melanie. I mean, Melissa.
All right, Joe. Okay, I got you, Joe.
Well, that's what's good about this podcast. We do have fun.
Yeah.
We want to be serious about some things.
Absolutely.
And when I'm done talking to you, I'm going to get serious for a minute. And if you want to stick around, you can do that. It's only going to take me a couple minutes.
All right.
And then
thank you, Bob. I appreciate you inviting me to come on here.
And look, anything that we can do to help, we help. I've helped over, it's got to be close to 100 veterans now. But women veterans, I've helped one woman veteran and then 3 widows. So I want to make this year, to the end of the year, everything I can about female veterans and they're getting their health care and benefits.
All right.
So we'll help you through this organization. And I wanted to say one thing. We did our last podcast about female veterans, and what I forgot to mention was a female veteran named Sharon Lane. She was the first American servicewoman killed as direct result of enemy fire during the Vietnam War. So I am sorry that I forgot it, and I'm going to mention it today. And she's been honored in her home state, and we just hope that her memory will survive. The one and only Sharon Lane. All right. Thank you, everybody. Welcome you back to Veterans Advise, and we'll be seeing you on the next podcast. I think it's 07, and we'll let you know what that's all about when we get to it. So everybody, thank you for listening, and make sure you understand what Melissa Washington said. All you female veterans out there, get your health care, get your benefits. Okay, it's Diamond Bob saying goodbye for now.
Bid me sunshine, what have you done to me? Whoa, the enemy sunshine, what have you done?